10 facts about witnessing in the Quran. 1. Witnessing of faith is an ongoing act. I witness there is no divinity except for God, and that Muhammad is his messenger. Declaration of faith, commonly known as Al-Kalima or Al-Shahada, is not a one-time act performed only when a person embraces Islam or professes faith. It is an ongoing act that believers do every day. God says, describing the believers, and those who maintain their witnessings. A believer is constantly witnessing that God is the truth and Islam is true. 2. Witnessing of faith is twofolds. Firstfold, I witness there is no divinity except for God. Secondfold, and that Muhammad is his messenger. Firstfold, we are attesting to God's divinity, al-uluhiyya, and his oneness, al-tawheed. I witness there is no divinity except for God. Secondfold, we are attesting to the truthfulness of the Quran, the Last Testament, and the eternal validity of Muhammad's message, peace be upon him. I witness that Muhammad is his messenger. 3. Witnessing of God's divinity versus sovereignty. We are attesting to God's divinity, al-uluhiyya. That is in the realm of voluntary worship by a rational being. It is a matter of choice, since one can choose to opt out or opt in. No divinity without that free will. Nowhere in the Quran has it said, I witness that there is no Lord but God. Ashhadu an la rabba illa Allah. We do not need to attest to the sovereignty of God. That is self-evident. With the lordship of God, no testimony is required, because it is the truth that transcends all human testimony. We have all testified to the sovereignty of God even before we were born. And when your Lord created from the backs of the children of Adam their offspring, and made them testify regarding themselves, Am I not your Lord? They said, Yes, we bear witness. Now you have no right to say on Judgment Day, We were not aware of this. Quran, chapter 7, verse 172. 4. Witnessing is an integral part of any justice system. Witnessing is a great ordeal that God swears by it, by the witnessing and the witnessed. Quran, chapter 85, verse 3. وَشَاهِدٍ وَمَشْهُودٍ. And it is so in order to carry justice on the promised day, al-yawm al-maw'ud, the day of judgment. On the day of judgment, even our own skin and legs will testify. Everything and everyone witnesses. God, angels, prophets, believers, the unbelievers, people of the book, and idolaters. They said, We attest against ourselves. Quran, chapter 6, verse 130. قَالُوا شَهِدْنَا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِنَا. O believers, stand firm for justice as witnesses for God, even if it is against yourselves, your parents, or close relatives. Quran, chapter 4, verse 135. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُونُوا قَوَّامِينَ بِالْقِسْطِ شُهَدَاءَ لِلَّهِ وَلَوْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَوْ الْوَالِدَيْنِ وَالْأَقْرَبِينَ. 5. Witnessing is more about personal integrity. Witnessing against or in favor of facts or people does not only involve a substantial reference to them, but it carries a moral cost, since it also refers to what a person communicates within himself or herself, and how to exercise his or her own freedom. So miswitnessing could be a sin. And do not conceal the testimony, for whoever conceals it, their hearts are indeed sinful. And God knows whatever you do. Chapter 2, verse 283. وَلَا تَكْتُمُوا الشَّهَادَةَ وَمَنْ يَكْتُمْهَا فَإِنَّهُ آثِمٌ قَلْبُهُ وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ عَلِيمٌ. 6. Witnessing is going from the unseen to the seen. The realm of the seen and unseen is only relevant to us, but not to God, as God witnesses everything. The witness is one of his names, Al-Shahid, the knower of the seen and the unseen, Alimul Ghaybi wash-Shahada. God is witness over all things, is mentioned in the Quran 6 times. Wallahu ala kulli shay'in shaheed. God describes himself as permanently present. He is with you. He is nearer to you than your jugular vein. وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. Surah Qaf, verse 16. Witnessing is the connection between the seen and the unseen, or transitioning from the unknown to the known. Many chapters of the Quran begin with God swearing by some natural object or phenomena, by the sun, by the moon, and by the morning light, and so on. When God swears by something, he uses it as a witness for turning the attention of man from the known to the unknown. When God swears, it is actually a powerful tool that forces man to think and ponder about the world within him as well as the world outside him, to reach beyond the material aspects of life. 7. Witnessing and martyrdom. The term witness, or shaheed, in the Quran is quite different from what is widely known. Traditionally, witness or shaheed means a battle martyr. A witness, or shaheed, in the Quran is the one who directly observes an event through senses and is present. Consequently, a witness or shaheed must be alive as the event unfolds. Dr. Hassan Farhan Al-Maliki, an imprisoned witness of truth, says, a witness, or shaheed, in the Quran is one who bears witness and speaks the truth for the sake of God and does not fear the blame of the blamer. The battle martyr is named later in this sense, and not the other way around. A witness, or shaheed, in the Quran is the one who exposes the truth, whether through research, journalism, or any detective work, or one who introduces a new knowledge, innovation, or invention, giving a witness testimony about something that benefits humanity. Examples of witnesses: a researcher or a university professor who dedicated himself or herself to advance human knowledge, discover or innovate a new technology or a cure, perhaps bypassing other more lucrative career options or commercial venues. A journalist who puts his or her life in harm's way to show people the atrocities committed by war criminals. A peace activist who witnesses the cruelty of his or her own government and is thrown into prison because she or he dared to witness the truth. A prisoner of conscience who publicly declared his or her views or values, exhibiting courage and possibly putting his or her life on the line, in the face of a mighty opposition. All of these, according to the Quran, are certainly witnesses or shuhada, regardless of whether they are killed or continue their path until they die, naturally. This view matches the social and political reality, since the number of those who suffer for their convictions or are killed because of their witnessing are few. Witnessing should not be restricted to only death in the battlefield. This restricted meaning was likely added to the Quranic meaning due to both politics and biblical influences. Restricting the meaning of witness, or shaheed, to only those who get killed on the battlefield diminishes the value of life and caring for it, and instead promotes a culture of death and fighting. A believer can attain a witness status without being killed in a battlefield, as it is against human nature to love wars and fighting. Fighting is prescribed for you even if you hate it. Chapter 2, verse 216. كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْقِتَالُ وَهُوَ كُرْهٌ لَكُمْ. The only prescribed fighting is the one that is carried out in order to lift the injustice. As we can see, limiting the meaning of witness to the martyr in a battle is a narrow understanding of witnessing. Witnessing, according to the Quran, carries a much broader meaning, which is living one's own life as a witness for the truth and for God. By bridging the gap between the seen and the unseen, a witness brings the human race closer to God's reality. The witness reveals some of God's vast knowledge and creation, and embodies some of God's widespread mercy and justice. That is the real jihad, or striving in the way of God. 8. Witnessing requires jihad, or striving in the way of God. The phrase "in God's way" can be found 70 times in the Quran. It means in a moral and ethical way. In God's way defines how one should go about things. To be a witness, one needs to exert efforts and that what is called jihad, from jihad, or an effort. Examples of jihad on a personal level. The jihad to better oneself and resist temptations every day. The jihad to seek knowledge and to peacefully spread the message of Islam. The jihad to maintain a family and raise decent children. All of the above have to be done the right way, or in God's way. Examples of jihad on a business level. Companies and firms must practice their jihad by conducting their affairs in an ethical way. They must not pursue their monetary gains at the expense of consumer benefit and safety. Professionals need to practice their professions diligently and competently to the best of their abilities, if they want to do things in God's way. In all these areas, striving, greatest jihad, is devoid of violence and armed conflict. 9. Witnesses of truth will be among God's highest ranks. God promised the witnesses, Al-Shuhada, the highest status in heaven as one of 4 distinguished categories of people. 1. The prophets. 2. The witnesses. 3. People of truth. And 4. The righteous. And whoever obeys God and the messenger will be in the company of those blessed by God, the prophets, the people of truth, the witnesses, and the righteous, and what honorable company. Chapter 4, verse 69. وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ فَأُولَئِكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ وَالشُّهَدَاءِ وَالصَّالِحِينَ وَحَسُنَ أُولَئِكَ رَفِيقًا. Just as prophets deliver to their people prophecies from God, witnesses help discover or uncover something that was absent from people, and present it to them. For example, Pasteur, Fleming, Einstein, Newton, Ibn al-Haytham, Ibn al-Nafis, and other discoverers are the ones who God will reward the highest status in heaven, provided they had believed in Him. And just as prophets and messengers demonstrated through their life courage and unrelentless commitment to their message against all odds, as a living proof of the mercy of God and His justice, witnesses who risk their life and livelihood to expose injustice are the ones who God will reward the highest status in heaven, provided that they had believed in Him. On the other hand, people of truth, al-Siddiqeen, are the ones who devote their lives to certify the truthfulness of the Book of God. By living according to God's way and fulfilling the trust entrusted to them by God, they are the authenticators of the eternal validity of God's laws. Abu Bakr, for example, did not earn his title of honor al-Siddiq through his death, but through his sincerity, righteousness, and bravery while he was still alive. As it was reported, he used to say, "O God, grant me witnessing in your way and a death in the land of the messenger." The righteous people are the ones who do the right thing and fulfill the trust entrusted to them by God. They include reformers that try to remedy corruption on earth, mend relationships, and eliminate or reduce toxic pollutants. وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ بَعْدَ إِصْلَاحِهَا. And do not spread corruption in the land after it has been set in order. Chapter 7, verse 56. 10. Eye-witnessing versus expert witnessing. The Quran distinguishes between 2 types of witnesses: the eyewitness, al-Shahid, and the expert witness, al-Shahid. Al-Shahid. Eyewitness, al-shahid, is physically present when something happens, so by definition, al-shahid is alive. Example 1. وَاسْتَشْهِدُوا شَهِيدَيْنِ مِنْ رِجَالِكُمْ. And call to witness 2 witnesses of your men. وَلَا يُضَارَّ كَاتِبٌ وَلَا شَهِيدٌ. And let no harm be done to a scribe or a witness. Chapter 2, verse 282. Example 2. Jesus, son of Mary, peace be upon him, says on the Day of Judgment, وَكُنْتُ عَلَيْهِمْ شَهِيدًا مَا دُمْتُ فِيهِمْ. And I was a witness of them as long as I remained among them. Chapter 5, verse 117. Al-Shahid. Expert witness, al-Shahid, does not demand physical presence as it requires the witness to testify according to his previously acquired knowledge. The act of expert witnessing is based on empirical evidence. For example, in the story of Prophet Joseph, peace be upon him, an expert witness testified based on circumstantial evidence. وَشَهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا إِنْ كَانَ قَمِيصُهُ قُدَّ مِنْ قُبُلٍ فَصَدَقَتْ وَهُوَ مِنَ الْكَاذِبِينَ وَإِنْ كَانَ قَمِيصُهُ قُدَّ مِنْ دُبُرٍ فَكَذَبَتْ وَهُوَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. And a witness from her own family testified, if his shirt is torn from the front, then she has told the truth, and he is a liar. But if it is torn from the back, then she has lied, and he is truthful. Chapter 12, verse 26. The eyewitness, al-shahid, is more precise and accurate than the expert witness, al-shahid, because of direct observation. So Muslims today are a continuation of prophecy, declaring and revealing the truth of Islam. لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ, so that you may be witnesses over humanity. Chapter 2, verse 143. Muhammad, peace be upon him, was shahid on his people and is shahid on us. وَيَوْمَ نَبْعَثُ فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ شَهِيدًا عَلَيْهِمْ مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَجِئْنَا بِكَ شَهِيدًا عَلَى هَؤُلَاءِ. The day we will call against every community a witness of their own, and we will call you to be a witness against these people of yours. Chapter 16, verse 89. Continuous series of witnessing. As parents, we are witnessing over our children, and they will be witnessing over their children. وَيْلَكَ آمِنْ إِنَّ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقٌّ. Pity you, have faith, surely God's promise is true. Chapter 46, verse 17.